What's up, guys? My name is Kyle. This is my 2014 Evo X, and I'm stuck in Kyle. What's up, guys? My name is Kyle, and this is my 2014 Evo X. Before I had this Evo, I had a WRX. I was a Subi guy. So when I was a Subi guy, I had an 05 WRX Limited. It was red, the color that I always wanted in that car. Then, you know, for 5 years, I had it, and it had a fully built 2.0 in it. Ran for all these years, and it finally went to an unfortunate accident. I decided I wanted to sell it, get rid of it, and get something new. And I knew I always loved Evos. I knew I wanted to get either 8, 9, or 10. I decided to get the 10, but if I wanted to get a 10, the color that I have, which is called Cosmic Blue, is the color that I wanted. My friend had it, he sold it. Obviously, this is not the same car, this is something different. I found this car in Yonkers. Once checking it out, everything seemed to be good enough. You know, did some background checking on it. I ended up taking a test drive. Found out during the test drive, it had an ETS front mount intake and blow-off valve from Tile. It also had an open dump. Only reason I found out it had an open dump is when I did a little pull on it. It just got really loud. ETS quiet exhaust was also added without me doing anything to it. So ended up taking it home, and I was really excited because this is my first ever Evo owning one. It was new. It felt so different from my WRX to this Evo 10. I had a friend that was gonna do some stuff to the car for me. Not too much because it had already the necessary mods I needed, so all I had to do was upgrade the injectors. So I got 1300cc injectors, and I also got an upgraded fuel pump. And then from there, he put that stuff in. I ended up getting the car tuned by Chag Tune. If anybody's familiar with his work, he's pretty good. Car was good when I got it. Started seeing some problems with it. My friend had put the parts in there. It was like a fuel issue. Got the car, drove it down. When I needed to get some more fuel, I started seeing some leaking, and it was confusing to me. I wasn't sure what happened. Then over time, he also put in a timing chain and a new timing belt for me as well. So once getting the car back from him, it felt great because it was on E85. Super excited. The car felt a little faster than it was originally. Still had the stock turbo on there, so it was just fun at first. Once I got it back home, I started seeing some small problems with it, like a fuel problem as far as like this weird leaking incident. Tried to figure that out. And by the time I was able to figure that out, something happened with the engine. So me pulled over on the highway, sitting there watching my car not run, you know, after dealing with a situation that I already had before, kind of hurt me. And the car was sitting in my driveway for about 3 months until I figured out that the engine was no good. Unfortunately, the Evo had sat in my driveway for a year and a half until I decided I wanted to make a move on it because I already knew that the engine was done, but I didn't know how to go about it because it was just like the incident took away what I wanted to do with the car just on a stock block. So it's like, do I go ahead and build the motor, or do I give the stock block life a second chance? And so I decided after a year and a half of it sitting, I wanted to do another stock block. So I got a final edition motor done and installed by RRT Motorsports. Shout out to Rafe, you know, doing a good job putting everything in and making sure everything runs right. I did end up adding some stuff on the car. I kept the 1300cc injectors on there, front mount, intake, blow-off valve, but I added a 64mm turbo on there. So I decided to do that. I ended up finishing everything on time and got the dyno tuned. The car was running pretty good. I got the car done. Finally, after a year and a half, I drive it back home, and maybe a day or two later, the car was driving and all of a sudden it stopped, and it obviously sounded like a fuel issue. I took it over to my buddy Jimmer's house. He checked it out for me, and he instantly found the fuel issue problem. The fuel pump that I had in there, that was the problem originally before by the past person that put it in there, was never changed originally. So I had to figure out if I was gonna have him do it or notify the shop to say, hey, look, I need you to do this fuel system for me. And I ended up taking it back up there and they put a brand new fuel system in it. So obviously I didn't want to go small on the fuel pump, so I ended up getting a bulletproof dual pump kit and you know, for the flex fuel kit. And ever since then, everything was great. Then another problem arose maybe 4 or 5 months down the line. One day I was driving and I did a pull, then all of a sudden it sounded like something, there was like an exhaust leak and I wasn't sure what it was. Remember hearing it and I was still driving it because I was like, I'll get to it. No big deal, no problem. When you think it's something small, it always could be something bigger. So always check and make sure and notify the problem before what it is. So it ended up being a turbo issue. Something had busted a hole and chipped the turbo wheel and went right through the turbo housing. I don't know how that happened. It was like unbelievable to see how it even went down, but yes, it was actually the turbo and it wasn't even anything exhaust related. Ended up switching the turbo out and getting a FP 18K turbo. Once I did the 18K turbo, and he did a second tune. Unfortunately, I had to do a secondary tune after I got the car out the shop. So in a total of how many tunes I got was 3 tunes. The first tune was getting the car from the shop originally. Then I had to go back because of the fuel. So I got the fuel kit. And then thirdly, the turbo. So I had to get the turbo done as well. Ever since he kept doing the tunes, the car kept running better. He was definitely resolving the issues that I needed to fix. Obviously, the car getting back on the road is gonna have some small problems to take care of, but that's okay. Going through all this, I learned a lot. As I hit my year, probably around February, on getting the car back on the road. And I had one more problem. It almost took the Evo out, and it was a very small problem. The problem was I had a pinhole in the turbo housing. Oil was leaking everywhere. It was leaking so much, I started seeing smoke. I wasn't sure where it was coming from. Luckily, I was right around the corner from home. Got home, I parked the car, and I just gave it a couple days. I was like, I don't know what it is. I'll hold it down, I'll wait. Checking the oil, there was no oil in the car. So that already gave me red flag. Poured it in the car, turned it on, and there was the problem. Immediately started spewing out oil everywhere on the bottom. I'm grateful that it happened in my driveway and not on the road, because if it happened on the road, my car probably would have been done again. So for that to happen, like right close to having the car up and running for a year was extremely scary. Thank God that it didn't happen that way. We ended up getting a braided line and fixing it, and after that, no more other issues. I really focused more on just enjoying the drive and not doing too much of worrying about trying to make it faster, because it was already fast. So the last time I tuned the car, it came out at 410 wheel horsepower at 93, and then on E85 was pushing 470 wheel horsepower. So just about 500 horsepower, right under the scale before, you know, it really gets too crazy, because, you know, these cars can definitely handle the power of 500 wheel horsepower, maybe a little more, but how long does it last? I'm a person that likes a lot of different cars. You know, I'm not just a person that just likes one 4-banger, I like all 4-bangers. Evos are definitely unique and special. It's a unique sounding 4-banger, the way it looks, and, you know, the reactions that people get when you see an Evo. People like Subarus. Where I live and where I'm from, there's a lot of Subarus here, but it's not as much Evo people here as Subaru. So when people see Evos, they react differently to a Subaru. Also, Evos have a better reputation on taking more power reliably on a stock block than a Subaru does. Also, when I experienced all this, the only time that I really had to tune this car was only because I was doing a fuel system and a turbo. Besides that, if I had to add these mods on there, I did not have to do a tune necessarily. If you do a downpipe, you know, exhaust, anything on a Subaru, you have to be very cautious. You have to do a tune in order to make sure everything is okay. It's probably the safer way to do a tune than anything, but Evos had a little better backbone on taking care of that part as far as modifications go. I wanted something that you didn't have to throw crazy mods on it and for it to still go. Been daily in this for a while now. I do have an actual daily driver, but I do daily drive this more weeks than the other car at times. But as far as what I was told before I got this car, the Evo 10s are definitely a daily driven vehicle compared to the Evo 8 and 9. Evo 8 and 9 would be more of like weekend car, track car. You know, that's why you usually see people driving it as they are more performance-wise. This, you could do performance, you could be comfortable, you can do it for fun, you could track it, you could do it all around. Obviously, you could get a comfier seat setting for the Evo 8 to 9, but this right here, just from factory, you do not need anything. I was contemplating up and down, obviously, even when didn't have this car running at the time. I almost wanted to sell it. Some people were telling me keep it, some say get rid of it, move on. I am gonna decide to keep it because I already put so much money down onto it, so it makes sense to just pursue exactly everything that you want to do with the car, right? Right now, I'm more satisfied that I finished the year out and I'm ready for the summertime. So throughout the summer, I'm gonna add some more aesthetic parts, smaller performance parts as far as suspension. You know, I'll get some coilovers, I'll get some sway bars, new wheels, and then as far as looks, get some new headlights. Might neaten up the inside of the engine bay some more, new bolts, more cooling systems. I'm really more hyped that the Evo is out and is ready to hit some events and for people to see it for what it is, original, before I do anything on it. Whether it's before the motor was in, I will never forget when I first bought this car. Transitioning from being a Subaru guy to an Evo guy was quite the experience because not a lot of people transition into another car. They feel like they're portraying themselves, you know, betrayal of the car brand that they always been on instead of trying new things. So what they call it is I joined the dark side. So I joined the dark side and the dark side never felt so good. Going from everything that I wanted to do in the Subaru was already done and made when I bought. So there really wasn't much I had to do to the Evo to get it I want to performance-wise, besides the incident that nobody knew was gonna happen. Besides that, yeah, it's not worrying about rusting problems and other issues like that. If you have a WRX and you want an STI or do a STI swap, just please mind you, if you don't have any other issues besides, you know, rusting and smaller issues like that, still gonna be a lot of work. You're gonna have the money up front. A lot of people told me when I had my WRX was to get rid of that and just get an STI. It's easier because the 6-speed transmission's already in it, the motor is already in it. All you have to do is focus on building the motor and maybe some other parts on the car as far as body and interior and stuff like that, which is why I had an easier time with this because it had no rust, it had no issues as far as maybe me wanting to modify it, and that was it.